Welcome to the celebration of the publication of Can Spring Be Far Behind? VOLE Spring Anthology 2005. Thank you to everybody who's come here to read us their poems this evening. We've got 24 readers from the book this evening, and we'll hear their poems in groups of 3. I'll announce each group, and I'll ask each group of 3 to unmute as I do that. So we're going to start by hearing from Jeremy Loynes, who judged the competitions in March and April this year. Jeremy is a man of many talents, and he's used all of them throughout his life. He's been an engineer, a research scientist, a financial analyst in business and the City of London, a maths tutor, and simultaneously throughout a discerning reader and writer of poetry. We first met Jeremy about 10 years ago when he began to come to read us his poems at our live events in Guildford. We've since published 2 collections of his poems, and the latest one, which is called Wise as Water, we brought out in January this year. We asked Jeremy to judge our spring competition this year because we respect his honesty, his sensitivity to other people's work. And we were certainly not disappointed when we had the appalling crisis, really, as the deadline for the competition approached. Jeremy picked up the pieces and he was a tremendous support to us. He got all the judging done and enabled us to bring out the books on time. The anthology was actually published in June. So here we are, celebrating the fact, and we want to hear from Jeremy what it's like to try to judge among 1,700 poems, which he was presented with, because being a joint competition, some of the entries were 10 poems long, so it was quite a job. We had 1,700 entries, as well as the shorter entries. So I think it's best if I hand over to Jeremy now, and let him tell us for himself what he did, how he did it, and what it was like. Jeremy, could you unmute, please?
I think I am unmuted.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Lovely. I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. Can you hear me okay, Jan?
Yep, yeah, we can.
Good stuff. Okay. Thank you for that lovely introduction, and so nice to be here sharing this fantastic celebration, the finale of this competition, and of course for the publication of the anthology, which you've all got, of course. I should say a few thank yous before talking about the judging. First of all, I have to thank Jan and Dónall, of course, for inviting me to take on the judging in the first place. I mean, it's quite a thing when you have a big project like this, you trust a third party, somebody else like this, and put the control of the selection of the winning poems in somebody else. But I have to say that we seemed to get on marvelously well when we were judging, and I think by and large, when it came to the nitty-gritty of selection, by and large, we agreed pretty well all along. So that was fantastic. And the other thank you for Jan and Dónall is for sheer perseverance, because when back in February, I heard what had happened as Jan and Dónall came back from their Mediterranean cruise and heard that you, poor old Dónall, had been rushed into Southampton A&E. I was expecting the phone call from Jan, which would basically say, sorry, I can't do this. I'm going to pull the plug and give everybody their money back. But there was none of that, never a hint of that. And Jan just efficiently and calmly carried on. I think, Dónall, you were probably reading the poems in your hospital bed, if I gather, and the whole job went on. So it was fantastic, and I shall remember this whole thing for a long time, just because it was such a dramatic process. But look at the end result, and look what we have tonight. So well done, you two. Well done. Lastly, perhaps strangely, I have to thank my mother because it was she who insisted on reading aloud to my brother and me when we were small and restless. She read things like Rudyard Kipling's Jungle Book, and she dragged us off to the theatre to see anything and everything. And it was there probably that I first gained an appreciation of the power and magic of the spoken word. So thank you to my mother, and thank you to all mothers, grandmothers, family members who take the time and trouble to read to their children. Such a rare and precious gift. If you are doing that, then please keep doing it. Finally, I would like to thank you all, all the entrants, for the courage to prepare and enter your poems and to open up yourselves creatively to the outer world. It does take a bit of bravery to put yourself out there, especially when so much of the time the result, whether you're submitting for publication or to a competition, the result is some kind of rejection, and we've all been there many times. So thank you for that bravery in doing that. And of course, in poetry, it's particularly brave because often we are opening our inner selves, and that, of course, takes an extra level of courage. I suppose the perfect combination in a writer is to have a hard outer shell, develop a thick skin, and then a soft center. The soft center, of course, is we need because it's our sensitivity, our empathy with the outer world. So even if you get that thick skin, make sure you hang on to the soft center. I have to say, I don't think I've ever fully pulled off the thick skin trick, because every time I put something in, I still feel that prick of disappointment when you don't get listed or you get the rejection. But it's nevertheless part of the whole process. But thank you for your, as I say, for your bravery and for for making those submissions. It seems to me in this AI world of ours, human creativity might be under a little bit of threat. But I'll be surprised if AI can ever really rival the sheer creative power of the brain's secret weapon. And I think the brain's secret weapon is probably our imagination, that sheer imaginary vision that we have when it comes to the creative process. I may be proven wrong. I may not be around long enough to find out, but I think we've got the edge at the moment. So come on, humans. That's what I say. So lastly, and when it came to the judging process, I would just say it was difficult and challenging, but I enjoyed it hugely. As I said in my introduction, in the end, it came down to an intuitive appreciation of the poetry. I dare say if there'd been another judge, there would perhaps been another set of winning poems. But nevertheless, I think art is subjective. So I think that's probably inevitable. So lastly, I just want to say how much I'm looking forward to hearing everybody reading their work tonight. It seems to me like the icing on the cake. The power and the color, the drama of the human voice is just fantastic. And of course, it's just going to add that extra level to all the poems we've read in the anthology. And of course, we're going to hear the rhythm and the pace, that the author intended the poem to have. And although I know most of these poems quite well by now, I'm still looking forward to hearing that extra level of interpretation, that extra colour. That's going to be a real treat, I think. I think I described the whole anthology as a gorgeous feast. So by now you must have developed a huge appetite. So let the feast begin. Janice.
Thank you, Jeremy. Yes, you've said everything I was thinking myself. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And so the way we'll do this, we'll start, as I said, we'll hear 3 people at a time. And we're going to begin with the top 3 prize winners. Unfortunately, there was a double booking that stopped Alison Mace being able to come. She's the third prize winner. But I will read her poem. But we're going to start with Maggie Wadey. If Maggie would like to unmute. Maggie won first prize with Mythos. Maggie.
Yeah, good evening. I first of all, of course, want to say what a lovely, lovely collection the anthology is, and how honoured I feel to have been included, let alone got the first place. Can you hear me all right? Can you hear me? Yes? So the poem is set on Paxos, which I know quite well from holidaying there. And it is indeed easy to believe that myth is still alive on that island. So the poem is called Mythos. The little bay spelt out its charms according to our dream of cypress, olive, asphodel, and limpid water turning quietly over sand. White sails bellied the horizon, driven gently by an unseen hand. We swam there alone, but for a young man, dark as walnut, finely carved, sentinel upon the rocks, looking out to sea. It was here, my companion said. In 25 AD, a sailor on a passing ship cried out, "The great god Pan is dead." What did that mean? I asked. The end of lived antiquity, she said. The end of myth. Behind us, through the trees, the young man climbed the hillside, sure-footed as a goat, so swift that soon, on muscled thighs, he disappeared amongst the silver leaves. Along the horizon, sails were trimmed. Water slapped stone lasciviously. The light changed. A chill air finger walked across our skin. Came a single bird's unanswered call. Then quick footsteps brought the young man back to crouch beside us. His cupped hands offered grapes, small, black and sweet, sweeter than honey, with a scent that clung to our fingers. And close to, we saw him so much older than we'd thought. His dark, carved face, impossible to place, to read, or to forget. The great god Pan.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. And secondly, we're going to hear from Heather Cook. Heather's actually got 2 poems in the book. Gardens in a Mist came second, and she has another poem as well, which she's also going to read. So, Heather, could we have you reading, please?
Thank you very much, Janice. And I'd like to echo the previous comments about, thank you so much for running this competition and for carrying on with it under the great difficulties that obviously you experienced and have come through. Lovely to see you both here. Gardens in a Mist. Well, I'm a frequent visitor to Wisley, as I live in the area, and I spend most visits with a friend or with my husband. and we pore over orchids and wish we could grow roses like the ones that we see. But on this occasion, I was on my own, and there's something about being on your own, I think, that enriches and intensifies experiences. And this is absolutely locked in my head, this unique experience. And this poem, I hope, goes some little way to reflecting that. Gardens in a Mist. My new horizon is bloodied dogwood stems. Disembodied voices could be yards away or miles. Only the path is definite, firm beneath uncertain feet. The mist rolled suddenly from waterways and saturated fields to catch on naked branches, contain me in a weeping web. I settle to this world with no perspectives to distract, no blooms requiring audience. The sudden sunlight that consumes the mist comes too soon for me. For a fraction of a fraction, I walk inside a fragile shell, but then the brightness strengthens with all the arrogance of spring. My second poem is The Unkind Kitchen. Now, loss obviously affects all of us, I would say, at some point or another in our lives. And there are all the obvious associations, the photos, the actual funeral process, the clothes and possessions that you're often having to sort out. But for me, many of the most painful and long-lived memories and associations have been evoked by the very ordinary surroundings of the home. And so this is how The Unkind Kitchen came into being. She feels her loss most keenly here, where oily footprints once stained mop-damp tiles. There are no tea bags now, left to bleed cold tannin by the polished kettle. No wrappers from forbidden treats to stick unreachably to strappy shoes. Her face confronts her in a battery of mirrored pans, and in the gleaming caverns she struggles now to fill. Her face looks strangely uninhabited, beyond the help of makeup or a gossip with a friend. He never seemed to notice how she looked, and now she doesn't either. Who knew a kitchen could be so unkind, with all its memories of such ordinary things?
That's lovely.
Right.
I've written a poem about a lost shoe found after losing a person. Actually, he wasn't dead then.
Mm.
No.
I'm not dead now either, love.
Sorry, I mustn't talk, quite wasting our time. Now I'm going to read Alison Mace's poem, which was third, and it's called Rules of the Road. It's almost like a prose poem, but I'm going to try and keep the lining of it as I read. Rules of the Road. Rules made to be broken, kept broken, no kept, the rules of the road to be kept by us all because sensible, know what they're doing, the people who made them to keep us all safe, not those who come out in front of me, cut off my side of the step on it, just as I will overtake in the crossing the double, and blimey, how could they see? Are they texting and snacking and snogging and snoozing with me just in front or behind or beside, and too fast and in fear for my what if all screeching and smashing my bumper and mirror and windscreen and glasses, the car on its back and my head on the carriageway, bang goes the airbag and bang goes my pelvis or ankle or femur or sanity, all of them criminals, louts. And that horn playing tunes getting louder, distorted, an ambulance, decibels, deafening decibels, headlights and dark. If any of mine, any child, anyone doesn't bear thinking of, never go out again. Curl up in bed with the pillows piled up and pulled tight around my ears and go back to the womb and the warm and before. Very powerful poem. Alison, wish me luck reading that out.
Very powerful reading.
Yeah, thank you. I did my best. I do love the poem. So now our next readers, and I won't interject to introduce them. All of them were highly commended, and I'm going to just read them in order. So could they unmute as one finishes? So first, Marilyn Daish. Secondly, Ted Gooda. And thirdly, Sarah Macleod. So would you three please read in that order? Thank you.
Can I just ask, Janice, do I read both of mine or just that highly commended one?
I've forgotten. You've got to read them both.
Okay.
Yeah, read them both.
Okay. Right. First, thank you for putting this on. I just echo what everyone else has said. Lovely event, and thank you for doing it and managing it. And also to our judge. Now, my first poem, really what I was trying to do was cut through the noise of my childhood and reach its core. At home with my brain-damaged sister. Sharpened surfaces in a room filled with fear. She wriggled from my mother's grasp, her urgency to reshape her world. Head banged on floorboards, her sounds muffled against a resistance of walls, torn through breaks in glass. My mother reformed her hands into handles, held fear in a fist behind closed doors, hidden from the neighbours, laugh lines stiffened. I found corners, while my mother made tea and scones. The second poem is a pantoum. It's about isolation. Whistle down the cracks. The woman chases motes with a feather duster. The dog does yoga on a carpet square. The man calls the ghosts on his phone. The baby hauls itself across the floor. The dog does yoga on a carpet square. The sun circles the room, spotting them all. The baby hauls itself across the floor in an unobserved moment of self-motivation. The sun circles the room, spotting them all. The man in the space searches for a signal in an unobserved moment of self-motivation. The wind probes the window, seeps through to the floor. The man in the space searches for a signal. He crosses the room to stand by the door. The wind probes the window, seeps through to the floor. The garden fox rakes its shadow through gorse. He crosses the room to stand by the door. We rarely speak, just whistle down the cracks. The garden fox rakes its shadow through gorse. We have no words within which to frame our thoughts. We rarely speak, just whistle down the cracks. Held hands in the dark, lack definition. We have no words within which to frame our thoughts. Disturbance tastes of metal. Dust is ephemeral. Held hands in the dark lack definition. Silence would be soundless but for the ticking clock. Disturbance tastes of metal. Dust is ephemeral. The baby takes first steps in a corner in the dark. Silence would be soundless but for the ticking clock. He calls the ghosts on his phone. The baby takes first steps in a corner in the dark. The woman chases motes with a feather duster. Thank you. Thank you.
So next we have Ted Gooda. Ted, are you here? Oh dear. Maybe Ted got left behind in the confusion over the links. I think I'll read Ted's poem.
You find Ted Gooda then. I would just like to say, Marilyn, that Whistle Down the Cracks was the poem I was reading before they brought me down for my operation. I was still trying to put my oar in and do something.
Yeah, we love that poem. I don't know why I'd forgotten that you've written it.
Oh, thank you. So, sorry, I realised I was talking just now and I was muted.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, lovely.
That's lovely to know. Thanks.
So I think Ted must have not got the urgent link that I sent. So I'm going to read her poem for her. It's highly commended. Ted Gooda, Repotting. A philodendron stayed its height for a year, then shot up 6 inches in a month, with rich compost, roomy new pot, and fresh online spot. Yet I always put this off too long, waiting until it's no longer a straightforward task. My daughter asks to stay out all night at a party. I hack at plastic, masquerading as terracotta, while trying to protect delicate tendrils, feel the sickening, telltale snap, and know there'll be root damage. White snakes, like slithering intestines, curl around clogged soil, with nowhere to go. Yes, I say, and look away. I relate to that poem. I've had a teenage daughter. Lovely. And our next reader will be Sarah Macleod.
Hi, thank you. Yes, lovely evening. Thank you, Jeremy, as well. I'm sort of, it's a bit blurred for me in my ears because I've got plugs in. Can you hear me? No, right. Yes, I've done quite a few poems with mixing humans and animals and birds and things, partly because I was given a very severe illness and I was in hospital for 6 months. So when I came out after chemo and all that, and I wasn't supposed to come out apart from in a box. And when I came out, I thought I was a bird. So I've written a few poems about mixing humans and birds. So sometimes an eagle waits me with feather and bone. Wind untucks itself from glens, from edges of lochs and tarns. Time streaks my wings grey, yet riding the thermals, I skydive. I pluck stings from heather and gorse, interrupt the flight of a gull, while my wingspan shadows create uncharted maps as I soar above the girl I remember, trekking through bracken. She will always look in the mirror of Loch with an eagle in her eyes. She will always skydive.
Yes. Dónall had hallucinations when he was on the drugs they give you in hospital. He thought he was cut up and put in a mess tin.
And put into an oven.
I think I prefer mine.
I think
I prefer yours.
better.
Oh,
However, he was cut up, mind you. It wasn't all hallucination. Right. Sorry.
Okay.
Now we're going to hear from Claire Lynn, Jenna Plewes, and Eve Jackson. If they'd like to unmute, please. First of all, Claire Lynn.
Hello, everybody. My daughter was born by emergency cesarean, and if anybody, I'm sure some of you will have had that experience, you don't really know where the baby has suddenly mysteriously appeared from because of the anesthetic and everything. So that's why it's called abracadabra. I am lying, part hidden behind a screen, waiting to be sawn in half, while they bustle, gowned and intent, exchanging banter, until a baby is flourished in the air, a flapping dove, and I am knotted together like silk handkerchiefs, red, black, violet, blue. Our daughter wriggles in my arms, startling as a rabbit. Thank you.
Love that.
Love it.
I had a similar cesarean. So I know what you mean. Beautiful
That's
poem.
great.
And Jenna, would you like to read for us next?
Yes, just to say it's a lovely evening and it's so good to see everybody. Enough. Dawn and another day is holding its breath. The only sound a stirring of silence as they feather from safety, dart from hedge to feeder, feeder to hedge, needle a few seeds each time until it's empty. Enough is never enough. I pour in more seeds, the birds return, and I must ready myself for the needs of another day, where enough is never enough. Wars ravage the world, shake out the last few seeds in broken cities, dying lands. Hands scrabble in the dirt. The feeders are empty.
That's very poignant, especially today. Fantastic. Thank you. And next we have Eve Jackson, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Lovely to see you both, and enjoying everyone's poetry, of course. But this poem came about through watching TV and reading articles about unmarried mothers parted from their babies. And I particularly thought about Irish and the churches that were involved. And it was just so heartbreaking. Parted. It was a cold winter when the world decided for them. Outside, tender shoots of snowdrops triumphed through clumps of begrudging mud. White bonnets bobbed the one cot, though they would never grow a sibling rivalry. He started it, she hit me first, or no, the frazzled mums, tut-tut. His boyish dreams will blossom, her love will always be weaving through his tickling ribs. Now heads tumble with tricks as feet learn to plant cautious steps. Then a day, blindsided in spin turn spin, windmill arms reaching no distance, ears sucking in the void of an empty room, lips quivering, confusion, stomach churning questions, both gripping tight to memory, green flecked eyes, his smile, her red hair tumbling across her face as she picks daisies. As one is carried across the border, the other driven south. Years before grief embroidered scars healed, petals smooth for a lover's touch. A forgiveness, a surge of curiosity to unearth a loss. To unfurl a heart, cowed by small dramas, opening to embrace past joys, the steadying hand on the back of a saddle as it wobbled away, the proud shout behind the goal on a cold Saturday morning. Roots to dig up and rake over, years to be replanted. Time to look deep into his eyes, find the boy she once knew. Time to gather those wild flowers.
Yes, that's very moving. Some terrible stories coming out of these orphanages, aren't there? Thank you so much. And Siobhan Ward, please.
No.
I'm sorry, Lizzie.
Lizzie.
Ballagher, Siobhan Ward, and Jan Westwood. They're the next three. Sorry, I lost the plot for a minute. So, Lizzie, would you like to unmute for us and read to us, please?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Pete. I'm writing a sequence about Exmoor, so this comes out of that. Below sky, grey cloud, fog that shapeshifts, hilltops glowering. And lower still, under scrub and shrub, beneath heather, heath, root filaments. What's here is only licorice water, filmed with the slick left by sunset, opalescent oyster shell blue. On a black broth that never boils but simmers with moon bubbles rising, black pearls breaking backwards through the glass's mirror sheen, where deeper still and deeper stars stud blackness.
Amazing evocation of Pete. Lovely. Thank you.
Siobhan.
Siobhan, please.
Hello. Thank you very much for putting on tonight and for choosing my poem. This poem is very much what it says in the title. It actually happened. And so it's an everyday wonder that Aideen and I shared. And I still find it wonderful that Aideen and I can still meet up. We've been friends for 50 years. And to me, she's 13 still in the hall of my house. The two of us grew up in Omagh during the Troubles and did lots of things together. So it's a kind of love poem as well, I suppose. Lowestoft Promenade, last Saturday in September, for Aideen. Pock-marked Triton clasps his cornucopia. We dander along, recalling our salad days, taking tiny spoonfuls from ice cream cups. It's only when we turn into Pakefield Street and read on a board about the houses, roads, lives, livings swallowed by the sea, observe the erosion continuing up to the headland, that, nervous of the edge, we check the hour and, the sun dipping, start back for the car. The fluty, frilly, liquid din reaches me first. A host of young sparrows crowning a bush, duking in and out of a tangle of brambles, outdoing each other in full-throated piping, puffed up like boy choristers at an audition, chins up, chests out, hands behind backs, then at once taking off as if thrown in the air, wheeling, twirling, trilling, chirruping wildly, little wings whirring as they spin out of sight. We stood a good few minutes there listening, watching the competitive jostling for position, the choir-like sociability, solidarity on display. After, we were unbounded schoolgirls again, chatting non-stop about it all. Lighter, uplifted, yes, chirpier, for a day out with little birds in it.
I love that last line. Thank you. Beautiful poem. Thank you very much.
Jan.
And now Jan Westwood, please.
Just like to repeat what everybody said, really big thank you to all the hard work that's gone into producing the anthology and this evening. This poem, I tried to get something, I love horses, and I think often they do betoken things, although I don't believe in the spiritual world, but I think horses have this ability to speak in their movement, and I was the competition made me focus on trying to capture that in some way. The February walk. We walked from the warmth of the house into the cold and climb of the lane. How automatically the legs adjust, thighs tightening to the steepness, calves stretching to the upward strain. We walked through the rusty ferns, wet and dripping, as if the ancient world lived again, one stepping aside for the other by turns, hands remaining resolutely deep in pockets, hoods upraised and enclosing against the rain. We walked, and new beginnings seemed remote, unspoken, only the steady crunch of paths already trodden. The heron rising from the wood did not betoken a start, only emerging with the gaunt grey sky. The earth was not fecund, but merely sodden. We walked, our minds turning to home, when suddenly we saw them, a blaze of horses in a wood, about 20 yearlings who broke into a foam of movement, sparking into fizzing feral life, drawing our eyes upward and away to see hooves flashing towards spring's coming flood.
Fantastic. That was a lovely walk. I enjoyed it.
Just walk in words.
A walk in words. And we have another walk in words to continue with. We're going to hear first from Judith Wozniak, then from Gillie Robic, and then from Richard Schwarz. I'm not sure how you say your name, Richard. Richard Schwarz? Yes.
Yeah, Schwarz is good.
Thank you. So
Judith.
we'll begin with Judith.
Thanks again for including my poem in this lovely anthology. I really enjoyed listening to the poems so far. Another walk, river walk. A year has passed since we met. I wait in case you return. Watch sun trickle through muslin mist, warm the earth, the early leaves gloss slicked after days of rain. Droplets shiver at the tips of lichen-brushed branches. Birch trees flash underslips in the breeze. In the swollen river, I hear the plop and slip of a vole. A target of ripples disperses under mossy stones. I follow the gull's cry to the sea. The reeds still rustle with secrets. Thank you.
That's lovely. I love the birches underslips.
Mm.
Very, very imaginative imagery there. And
Gillie
Robic. Gillie, you're here. I know you are.
I think.
I was not unmuted. I apologise.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So it's Gillie Robic, but it doesn't matter how you pronounce it. Thank you so much, Janice and Dónall, and so good to see you coming out this side of the tunnel. And thank you, Jeremy, and thank you, everybody, tonight. They're all wonderful poems. This is a very short poem, and it's I sometimes write poems just to illustrate how different people face the world in different ways. And this is called Before Midnight. She pauses in the vestibule, smooths her silver gown, feels anxiety pepper spray like hot oil from a skillet. She takes a deep breath, walks into the ballroom, refuses a canapé, accepts a flute of champagne. Courage underpinned, she lifts her fluent hem, reveals the crystal stiletto.
Love the echoes of Cinderella there. It's beautiful. Thank you. So Richard, now for something completely different. Here's Richard.
This poem, some may see it as a comment on self-improvement guides. I couldn't comment. It's called 12 Ways to Nurse a Grudge, a self-help guide. 1, never let go. 2, never let go. 3, never let go. 4, if scabs form, pick at them. 5, never let go. 6, imagine you're on a boat. 7, always keep sight of the shore. 8, make sure you never reach it. 9, if necessary, break the oars. 10, pretend to let go. 11, don't let go. 12, never let go.
Good advice. That's what I always do. Thank you. I'm good at grudges sometimes. Right. So Greg Smith, and then David Punter, and then Emma Lee. So first, Greg, please.
Okay, thanks for putting together this anthology under such difficult circumstances. And it's really nice looking and well produced. Okay, this one's called Friday Night. All streets lead into the main road north. A sleepless snake of car lights past the laundrette, rugby ground, all-night Tesco garage. You can smell a Balti village for 4 blocks, almost name the half a dozen colours in the air. Jalfrezi, Dopiazza, Rogan Josh. Pub talk behind steamed windows, like the syllables of bees, blends into a single note. 11:15, the Silver Cup, White Lion, 3 horseshoes, switch off and on again like yellow beacons, to nudge the elbows of the last few hardened drinkers. After every train, the platform breathes with quick feet, then shuffles empty. From the station front, a volley of slamming car doors. The lit chip shop and white-tiled kebab house jostle full like football terraces. Beyond the black park, silhouetted trees are backlit by a glowing nebula, all the artificial light above the 3 dark miles between here and the next named full stop on the rail map. There the last bus empties, then shudders silent.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah, your poems really bring back well, it's still there, I suppose, the ordinary life around the city centres, not in the city centres. Very, very good. Thank you. David Punter, please.
Okay. Well, thank you, Janice and Dónall, and everybody for an evening full of amazing imagery. It's been a lovely evening so far, and I'm sure it'll only get better. This poem is called Hobbies, and it's about people's hobbies and how miraculous they might sometimes be. Hobbies. Paunch-proud reenactors, crusaders in doublet and hose, charging through mud, shouting hoarsely of honour and blood. Wizened men stealing off to their attics where the railways run, dreaming of when the machine tool shop will finally close. Gamers, baton twirlers, bread makers and calligraphers, winemakers and mycologists, skydivers and snowboarders. Lofts of murmuring pigeons after lights out, a stilled longing met by the one true bird returning from its ineffable journey. Philatelists, never confuse them with philanderers, lost in contemplation of the final stamp of life's incomplete set. Furniture builders, makers of model ships, Lego addicts, lapidarists, restorers of ancient vehicles, cruciverbalists, genealogists, embroiderers, crocheters, knitters of long felt wants, unending clicking of needles, pincushions stuffed with hope. Radio hams crouched over the waves, sorting sound from sound, crafting a mosaic of noise so that lonely men can dance. In a world of work without soul, where hope might seem in vain, it may be the strangest hobbies that keep us truly sane. Thank you.
You said it all there. I'm a what was it? A
cruciverbalist, crossword addict.
Cruciverbalist.
Oh, yes.
That's me.
That's you, all right.
Thank you. And
Patricia?
Emma Lee first, please. Emma?
Thank you to Janice and Dónall for keeping the competition going in very difficult circumstances. And also thank you to Jeremy for shortlisting my poem. This is The Door That Opened to Nowhere. I was a scruffy schoolgirl in a Georgian house with rugs we weren't allowed to stand on. A delicate floral tea set had been laid out, with a bowl of sugar as the centerpiece. But my attention was held by a door, on the other side to the one we'd entered through. The guide said it was there to provide symmetry. I wanted to try the handle, even though it would only lead to brickwork in a city which had had the imagination to fund engineers to make the harbour float, 2 years after the slave trade was abolished, to free merchants from being limited by the tide. The guide didn't know if the door would open. Did the merchant's wife care about her sugar's source? Was her wedding ring comfortable or a tight tether binding her to this house? Had she written a secret diary and hidden it behind a loose brick? Or was her mind shut, like the door, a fake thing to satisfy the eyes of others? No answers in this generic room of a family recreated to give schoolchildren a sense of history as the middle classes had written it. Merchants' names given to hospitals, schools and charities who'd bought floral sugar bowls and doors that weren't to be opened. Thank you.
Sorry, I was muted there. I just wanted to thank you for reminding me of all the traipsing around historic houses we've done, and that however historic they are, they don't include all the history, only the aristocratic history.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. And
Tricia,
Pat Leighton, please. Patricia Leighton.
You got the end.
Oh, sorry. And after her, we'll hear from Jamie Hammond, and then Tim Kiely. Have we got Tim here?
We have, yes.
We have. Good. That's good. So, first of all, Pat Leighton, please.
Hello.
Hello, you're there. That's good.
Hi. I can't see myself, but I'll carry on reading, okay? Yeah, I'm so enjoying it. It's a beautiful anthology. Thank you so much. My poem is based on the myth of the Federation of Rome, the Romulus and Remus story, but it's in the voice of the she-wolf that suckled them. The she-wolf speaks. Why did I do it? Foster these brats of pups left mewling and crying on a Tiber bank. They're no part of the pack, not even of the same kind. But something's there. I'd milk to spare, and it's what mothers do. Now I'm having second thoughts, lusty and grasping the pair of them. How they cling on, ravage my teats, will drink me dry at this rate. And look how they're filling out. Real scrappers too, not the play fights wolf pups need to survive in the pack. It's more than that. Something I can't put my paw on, which raises my fur. I'll pick my time. Step back. No moon tonight. I'll drop them close to their kind. They'll be found. Look at them, though, fighting still. Which of them stronger? Who knows? I can tell even now it will end in a kill.
Love that. Oh, there's a real truth in that, isn't there? Thank you. And Jamie, let's hear from you, Jamie Hammond.
Hey up, you all right, guys?
Hi.
Just a babby little sonnet for you. The suffering will be over shortly, don't worry. Thank you very much for this. It was an absolute honour. And it's been a joy to hear everybody. I think what Jeremy said at the beginning is so true about, like, sometimes you need to hear that voice to take it to the next level. And even though I adored some of these poems beforehand, just hearing them spoke by the poet has been class, man. Right, anyway. This poem's called Like a Father Should. Butter, bread, and bickies in a bait box, brought at sunrise to flesh-drenched sands. My old fella, big and broad, coaxing the strings for takeoff, I with nervous hands. Then flying, composing melodies for the sea, fishermen at watch, envious of our sails, pointing, red stripe shining, magpies dreaming. My father cracks a can, settles reins down, sits his horse's back to dune grass. He gives a sip of mucky beer, proudly smiles when I don't wince, pleased I'm not a lass. But then I fumble, the kite tumbles, drops a mile, till he runs in, untangles all the troublesome knots, lifts me up again, like a father should, before he forgot.
A poignant ending, and lovely imagery too, throughout that. Lovely. And Tim's got 2 poems. So Tim, can we hear both of the poems we've put in the book, please?
Certainly. Thank you very much, Janice, Dónall. Thank you as ever for putting this on. It's been a marvelous evening hearing everybody. So yeah, got 2 poems. One of them in particular, mercifully short, you'll be pleased to hear, but just taking them one after the other where they appear on page 53 of the anthology. The first one is When I Explain Why I Am Taking Time Off Work. You break from the middle first. The head might not have any idea what's gone. The legs won't read the signs and keep going. You'll even bleed into your shoes before the lights go out. You break from the middle so that your first shout will look and sound like laughter. A pop-up ad will tell you to practice self-love. Your head will throw itself forward, your eyes a knot of steam escaping. Everything that flows from there is like a dying tree. An axe would strike at the base, but you have been dried out and rotting at the heart, who knows how long. A snap rings out, green leaves relax into oblivion, upside down, unseen. And thank you very much. Poem number 2. If you like any of my stuff, by the way, I've just shared a link in the chat to my Big Cartel page where you can find all of my pamphlets, including one that Janice and Dónall, I'm very grateful for publishing a couple of years back, No Other Life. I continue to be very proud of that pamphlet. This final poem then is called I Did Not Speak to the Woman Who Cried by Herself on the Tube. My titles are getting longer and longer as time goes by, but in this I failed. It was prosaic. It wasn't worth the single file of tears, the sunlight filling the carriage coming into Gloucester Road that Tuesday morning in November, and I'm sorry. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, we've all been there. Yes. Yeah. London's wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, Tim, we were very proud to publish Tim's pamphlet because he won the Brian Dempsey competition a couple of years ago. Fantastic pamphlet. Thank you. And our last three people to read: Roger Bloor, Angela Brodie, and Anne Woolf. So, teeing up Roger Bloor, please.
Hi, and thanks Janice Dónall and Jeremy for putting together such a brilliantly curated anthology. It's a pleasure to be in it. My poem explores Hopper's painting The New York Room and tries to look behind the image that he's created and produce a backstory for the two characters that are within it. The Hopper of the New York Room. I've seen this painting many times, seen prints and art books, Google images and posters, but here in Madrid, between Morning in a City and 4-Lane Road, I see three people in the frame, not two. A shadowed figure stands between the man who reads the New York Times with heavy eyes and the woman picking out her one-fingered tune on the piano by the wall. I am that shadow of an over-painted child, the one they never talk about, who stands behind the heavy eyes and hides beneath the pages of her music book. I move along the gallery, and as I turn to leave, another page is turned, another note is played, another grief is left unsaid. Thank you.
Roger, that is beautiful. That's a very good ekphrastic poem. It's far more than a description, and it's lovely. Thank you. And now Angela Brodie, please. Bouncing on that ottoman again, I think. Where are you? Oh, you're not here.
I am.
Oh, good.
I am. I just couldn't unmute. It's in a different place than
lovely to see you.
I'm here. Yes, thank you everyone for this opportunity and listening. I'll just put that back. Oh, okay. So this is the final poem of a series about the lost fishing community of Hull. It's the story of those who lived along the Riverside Road, Hessel Road, and the many who served on the trawlers, which included my grandfather, and those who died in the task. The poem is Dancing on the Ottoman, as I did as a 5-year-old, living in the heart of my fishing family in Hull. I got upon the Ottoman because it stood full bayed above the yard, and none could see above the walls, not you, nor me, and the blue-framed mirrored door swung out to guide a hand and foot, so slowly to some inside tune I moved, a bit. It was the perfect stage where I could watch and hear all above me up to the sky, then more surely moves that fluidly raised toe and head and placed them so and so, became a steady dance to music stirring sheet and bed and flurried dust, until a snow globe filled with shouts and sun and birds of green and lapis flew and streams that pebble ran and knocked, until unlatched I spun and aired aloft. My arms burst through the sky until another latch undid, and I was taken down, but too late, for my hands had spun a world where secrets lay, and I had seen. And though the Ottoman was banned and such displays undone, I knew, and could creep to watch above the Ottoman where I had spanned, to keep the secrets safe.
Fantastic reading of that.
Yes,
I love the poem, and you read it so well. You've got all the rhythms and the pace. Fantastic. Now, last but very much not least, Anne Woolf. We chose this poem as the last poem in the book because it is short, but it's very pithy and to the point. And so, Anne, please, could you read us It's Just a Snail?
Thank you. Just first, can I add my thanks to everyone else's? And thanks for an enjoyable evening. I wrote this poem because I often wonder about what we notice and what we fail to notice, and why we find some things significant, some things and people significant, and others insignificant. So it was just a snail, barely noticeable, being small and pale, clinging to the black currant bush with transparent shell. It was not responsible for demolishing the courgettes or decorating the wall of the house with shiny lines of slime. There was really no reason to remember it at all. It was just a snail.
Yes, that's a lovely poem. I love that. We both do, don't we? Yeah. Thank you, Anne. That was a very nice reading of it too, and your explanation. So we've come to the end of our readings, and I want to thank. Yes, it's a shame. I've been really enjoying this. We've galloped through. We've done it in just over an hour. And you've all read so well, and you've brought the whole book to life all over again for us. So thank you, everyone. Do you want to unmute and give each other a good clapping? Yes? Yes?
Thank you, everyone.
Well done, everybody.
Well done, everybody.
Really
Thank
enjoyed
you,
it.
Judith. Thank you, Dónall.
That's great.
If you want to buy a book, just go to the homepage of our website, dempseyandwindle.com, and you'll click on the link on the picture of the book, and you can order one if you want to.